Hey everyone, so Tslaucay just sent over another great product. Carbon fiber spoiler. Check it out. Oh yeah. So doing an average install is easy. Doing a really good install though, it's a little more difficult. All the videos I saw didn't really go through any issues they had. People just put the spoilers on and said, look, here it is, it's fantastic. I'm going to show you the issues that I had and give you tips on how to fix those issues, and the biggest one being gaps. So first we do an unboxing and then we get into the full install. After the install, I'll show you how to fix any issues with gaps that you have, and at the end I'll show more before and after pics. And all of the OEM spoilers have gaps, okay? I don't care what model you have, 3, S, X, Y, all of them. But don't worry, whether you've got an OEM or aftermarket spoiler, I show you how to fix them. Throughout the video, I'll either verbalize any of the tips that I have, or I'll put them on the screen, things that I've learned after I shot the video. The video is a little long. I've got everything chaptered out below if you don't need to see everything. All right, I've been waiting a while for this sucker. I wonder what it is. Whoa. Oh yeah. Wow. Oh dang, that is nice. Boy, hope that's showing up well. Man, that looks good. This is legit stuff. This is real carbon fiber, my friends. Wow. Okay, obviously that's the spoiler. We've got some good 3M tape here, double-sided, VHB, that's the good stuff. And some wipes, adhesion promoter. Sounds like a good idea. All right, let's get the car in here and put it on. Oh, can't wait. First things first, let's clean this sucker up really well. Obviously, it's best to start with a clean car, which this is fairly clean, and then gonna get some isopropyl alcohol, clean this up really well. We obviously want the tape to stick as good as possible, and I'm going to be putting some extra tape on to hold it down, so I'm cleaning up everywhere. But yeah, this will take all the wax, not just dirt, but any wax you may have put on the car. Let's take the beautiful spoiler and do a dry fit. Okay, so I've got a couple pieces of tape here ready, and the first thing I'm going to do to try to center it is really just go by feel right now and just kind of eyeball it, because this is made for this curvature. It really doesn't want to fit in any other spot but where it belongs. So I am going to use these pieces of tape to mark the edges of where it wants to sit, and then we can compare that with actual measurements. Pretty much right on 5 inches, 4 and 15/16. So that is very close. Will anybody notice a 1/16 of an inch? Okay, now that we've got side to side measured out, let's add some more tape here just to help with alignment. Okay, then I'm going to put one in the middle here just to kind of line it up. Know where center is. And we're going to cut this one very carefully. Now with this spoiler, we have to put the tape on, alright? So I'm just basically just put one on this side and one on this side, and it should do well. One thing we don't want to do is cover up these holes here in the center. They call them weeping holes, so we don't want to plug those up. Right, I think it's always a good idea to clean everything that we're going to put tape on. Oh yeah, this is obviously a real pain to hold up, so I'm using this to hold it. It's working pretty well. So we do want to make sure that this is dried out. Okay, one thing that I have learned from watching other videos is to make sure that we've got one piece of tape. We don't want to separate the tape out. Also, I'm going to run it a little bit over the edges because I want like maximum coverage, and we'll just cut the rest off, any of the excess. All right, I obviously did a lot of overlapping here because I want to make sure that, boy, I did way more overlapping than I thought. But what I'm going to do then is cut this down because we don't want to double up on the thickness here. That'll screw up how it mounts. So I'm going to perform a little surgery there, and also on this end too. Don't have to worry too much about scratching the back of this thing, so. Okay, so a tip for installing this tape, I would do the top part first, because there you line it up all the way across the top, so you're not cutting anything off up here, and you've got the best coverage on the top. And underneath there, if you mess up like I kind of have, it won't be as imperative. You're not going to see it as much underneath. Okay, we've got the tape on here. Now I'm going to make sure that I press it in really well. Again, I'm going to repeat this probably a few times because a lot of videos that I saw, people had trouble with the edges coming loose, and that happens on the factory Teslas too, you know, the Teslas that come from Tesla. And by the way, Tesla doesn't use any magic adhesive or anything on their cars, from what I understand. They do use adhesion promoters. There are a lot of aftermarket manufacturers, though, that or install shops that install these spoilers on people's cars, and they just make sure they do a good cleanup job with alcohol and whatever. They just use this tape, and they don't even use adhesion promoter, and they say they don't have any problems. And I'll give you some other tips on that I saw on those videos to help keep this thing down so you don't have issues in the future. There's a couple different ways that I see people doing this. Some people are just taking the backing off of this tape completely off and installing it, you know, just putting it on the car, maybe starting off a little bit lightly, and then, you know, and then pressing on. My experience with this tape is, though, that once you touch something, like really grabs hard, and you end up like peeling it off, and that can't be good in terms of adhesion. Okay, once you start pulling it on and off, it's not going to hold as well. The other way then is people will peel the backing off partially and then start installing it, and then pulling the rest of the backing off as they go. And I've seen that go pretty well, and I've seen that go a little bit rough if you break the backing, you're trying to peel it off along the way. So, you know, it's a give and take. If you have a lot of experience with this double-sided tape and putting things on, fantastic. Just peel it all off and have a go. I'm real hesitant to do that, especially since this thing it's so big, and you know, it's easy to start touching as you install. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off the backing. I don't know how far, you know, maybe to here or so. And I've been kind of practicing putting this on, and I'm going to start here kind of at the center that I've got that marked, and try to hold this corner from touching. So I'm going to put it on like this and start kind of pressing, and then I'm going to press this in place in the very end and not push all the way to where the tape is ended, and then kind of pull this back and start peeling this tape, knowing that this is held in place here. So That's the plan anyway. Let's see how this goes. First, I'm going to start using this adhesion promoter. You don't need to go very far with this adhesion promoter. You know, it's very much on the edge lip here. And this stuff doesn't last long. In other words, it dries out very quickly. Okay, just like rehearsal. The center's lined up. Okay, now I'm just going to try and touch just here. I don't want to press anywhere else yet because I want to be able to pull this out. There, and I don't want it to rip. Okay, so far so good. This end is stuck in there. Ooh. Start pushing this in forcefully. I don't want to push over here too far. But yeah, this stuff sticks. Okay, I'm starting to push it in little by little. I'm kind of holding this corner out a little though. Alright, I'm just pulling it off all the way. I don't want to get stuck not being able to install it. Yeah, you can hear some of the edges trying to stick in before everything gets lined up. But you can see the edge here is lined up with the tape. The center's lined up. So that means everything should be fit the way we had planned. And now we start pushing, making sure this guy is firmly in there. All right. Now, why is that still? All right, that wasn't completely in. You could see from the tape it wasn't. Now it is. All right, now we're going to do a couple things. One, we're going to get the heat gun out. Okay, I have this set on pretty low. I mean, it's hot, but it's not that hot. I'm going to start warming everything up. Help activate the adhesive a little bit more. It's also a little bit cold in my garage. It's under 60 degrees. Okay, something I had here were some gaps that I could see. And I'm pushing those down now. And then go across here. Everything looks good here. Okay, here also though, I'm seeing some gaps. So I'm kind of pushing in and prying it down to maybe pushed this down a little bit more. Let me heat this up. Okay, it's nice and toasty. Okay, so it does stick. So what I'm going to do here now, I've seen a lot of people use tape, yellow tape, or even this blue tape. What I am going to use, because I'm a little worried about this tape not sticking well, I'm going to try to use some vinyl wrap. I have some spare scraps of vinyl wrap. Who knew it was going to come in this kind of handy? So if you don't have any spare vinyl, you know, the blue tape, or honestly, you know, even if you use like a heavy duty duct tape or something, you're not going to leave this on long. I've heard places say to leave this on for 8 hours, 24 hours. I really can't tell you exactly. What I do know, however, is that 3M VHB tape, when I read on 3M, this takes 72 hours to become completely stuck, basically. That's when it reaches its full potential. So, I don't know. I'm probably just going to leave this on for 72 hours. Why not? And also, what I read is that everybody has a little bit of gappage on this stuff. All through here, there's really no gap. And here I really minimize the gap, but there's always going to be a little bit of gap going on here. It's just none of this stuff is perfect. That's kind of all there is to it. When we get, you know, at a normal distance away, everything looks fine. I mean, it looks good. This thing, man, it looks good even with this vinyl wrap on here. So I'm going to leave that on there, honestly, for probably a couple days. I mean, you know, why not? It doesn't bother me. Take it off and we'll take a real good look at it. But man, right now, this is cool. This is really cool. Okay, this is literally a few days later. Now, let me explain why I have this extra tape on here. I had to drive the car the next day after installing the wing, and it was raining. I wanted to keep all the water and dirt from getting into any gaps that I had while I was out driving it, so I just added this this is like packing tape or something. Alright, and yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Saw this while I was putting it on. So we've got some gappage issues. So pretty much starting here along to about here, and then there's no gap here, here, but then we start getting some gap here. I think that's showing up better here. The end, not so much gap. Here, there's some gap. So I'm going to show you if this happens to you, which, honestly, I'm not sure how it wouldn't happen to you. I'm not sure I've seen one video where somebody has put a spoiler on their car, whether it's the factory OEM spoiler from Tesla or any aftermarket spoiler, I don't care if it's Model 3, S, X, Y, they have gaps. Somewhere there's a gap. The OEM ones have them on the ends, and the other ones have them just in various spots. When I was kind of dry fitting it, it's hard to say. It looked like I could possibly eliminate all the gaps. Then you put the tape on and you try to stick this thing on, and it's like near impossible to get it on perfectly as you were dry fitting it. So what happens when you have gaps? Over time, water and dirt obviously are going to get in there. That's not good. It's not the worst thing, okay? Obviously, Teslas go years with water and dirt getting in there, and just really what ends up happening is that the wing it starts to come off. So what I want to do is seal that up. And what am I going to use? This stuff. This is a black silicone adhesive sealant. So it really does everything we want, okay? It's made out of silicone, which is like, works through all temperature ranges, sticks to almost everything. It works as a good adhesive, and it's going to seal things out. So what I want to do is just basically seal up all of these gaps that we have in here. All right, so let's try it out. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to try first on the bottom because, hey, if I mess it up, it's underneath. No one's going to look underneath here. Alright, so while this is still relatively wet, I'm going to start pulling some tape off. One tip here, get a wet paper towel. You're going to need a bunch of paper towels. Keep your finger wet. That's kind of a tip for doing silicone caulking anywhere. Show you how difficult this stuff is to work with. The part that got smeared and I'm not real happy with. Says the line is just a little bit jagged, and I don't know if I can like smooth it out here like this. I might have to retape, but this stuff just like smears all over. It's so hard to control. I got this edge out, but like as soon as you touch it, it just wipes and smears onto another area that you don't want it on, and then it's like on your fingers, it's on another part of the towel, and then you touch that. Some of it's dried, but I know I can wipe that off like with some alcohol, or you can just kind of wipe it like that with your fingertips. So this line is it's not great. After it dries, you know, I may just put another piece of tape here and straighten that out, just add a little bit more to it, because it's just a little jaggy there. So no more gaps. That is smooth all the way across. Yeah, way better. Also underneath, the whole gap filled in all the way across. Okay, before and after pics coming up, but please stay tuned, like and subscribe. We've got stuff coming up, all right? New wheels this spring. I'm going to do a new hood wrap. We've got garage upgrades coming, all right? Like and subscribe. Thanks.